Welcome back to Nick at Night, the show where we dissect Hollywood hypocrisy and try to find you some diamonds in the rough worth watching and spending some money on. I'm your host, Nick Jeeves, and we got a good show for you tonight. We're going to be dissecting the future of Batman in film, the infamous Ben Affleck, and a new HBO, well, not new, but something I want to go back to the well on, HBO show called The Leftovers. Let's get to it.
You're always like, I'm just free-spirited. It's so nice to see you.
All right, so let's face it. Ben Affleck was never going to live up to Christian Bale as Batman. That's just a fact. But instead of just being mediocre, Affleck is taking it a whole step further and is destroying Batman's image. I mean, I hold Batman sacred. I dress like Batman for, I think, 5 Halloweens in a row, and this guy's destroying the Caped Crusader, sacrificing substance for audience appeal. The Dark Knight from 2008, Christopher Nolan's masterpiece, he put the story first, wasn't afraid to go back to the comics for some inspiration, and they always provided a fresh take on old classic villains. More importantly, they took their subject matter seriously. Same goes for Michael Keaton and Tim Burton's version of Batman as well. And these were great films on their own. They just so happened to be superhero flicks. So what goes wrong with Affleck? The problem with Ben Affleck's Batman is that it's more concerned with selling toys than giving the audience something memorable and meaningful. They've toned down the best parts of what makes Batman so awesome to make it easier for parents to bring their kids. Instead of Heath Ledger, we get an over-the-top Jesse Eisenberg, who looks more like a disturbed college dropout than a criminal mastermind. Instead of Christian Bale, we get the pretty boy number 2 from Good Will Hunting, who could never really handle top billing. Movies like Guardians of the Galaxy can get away with this balancing act. But with Batman, you gotta go all or nothing. You either go all out cheesy or super dark. And this new incarnation is just stuck somewhere in the middle, and it falls flat. But is this a symptom of a greater disease in Hollywood, and more specifically, superhero movies? Maybe the remedy is to look to the future and start pushing for Netflix to produce a standalone Batman series. But is Batman ready to get his own platform on the internet? The internet is taking over as the preferred platform for TV and movies. It's crushing movie box offices, and it's becoming the main medium for people to get their entertainment. Shows like Daredevil set a surprising precedent. They showed that it is possible to tell an epic story about a dark character over multiple episodes instead of just a 3-hour block. Ben Affleck is probably going to play Batman for years to come. Love him or hate him, there's no avoiding that. But what if we gave him some competition? It's also worth noting that Netflix's Daredevil series only came about after Ben Affleck tried playing him on the silver screen. The movie bombed so badly that it sent the character into development hell for over a decade before he made his return. Is Affleck doing the same thing to Batman? The Fox show Gotham had some minor success taking Batman to the television, but trying it out episodically and having Bruce Wayne as a child just didn't seem to work. On top of that, the production value was cheap and cheesy, and the actors just seemed to be trying too hard. This source material with Batman, you need the freedom that the internet can provide. On Netflix or Amazon or Hulu, writers could ratchet up the violence and explore that treasure trove of villains that have yet to be portrayed on screen. The move would be to cast 1 or 2 experienced actors in supporting roles in the show and fill the rest of the spots with no names. Keep it exciting. When Bale was cast as Batman, he wasn't an international superstar. He was relatively unknown. We didn't know what we were getting, and this created intrigue, some mystery. With Affleck, what you see is what you get, and there's not a lot there to begin with. If producers emulated the format that was successful for Daredevil, they'd have a winner. Batman has a built-in audience, and many fans are still unhappy with Affleck's performance. If you brought in experienced superhero writers and showrunners, and hired out a big-name composer to put together an updated theme song, I think the response could be massive, and it could give the audience another outlet to see their hero in another light. Or they can just keep going with the current format, cast Matt Damon as Robin, and enlist the Harvey Weinstein production studios to produce. I'm sure Harvey has nothing better to do. And not for nothing, but with the recent allegations and clips coming to light of Ben Affleck groping a female reporter, I don't think the face of the Caped Crusader should be sullied further by a sex offender, but maybe I'm just old school like that. But let's allow his work to speak for itself. Forget about the Batman v Superman mashup that bombed with fans and critics. Let's talk about the jam-packed, crowded, upcoming Avengers knockoff, where Batfleck leads the Justice League into battle in a condescending toy commercial.
this weekend, Diana?
Me? Nothing very interesting.
The world remains in mourning after the death of the Superman.
What we're saying is a crime wave around Lex Luthor, the Arkham Asylum. And where is the Gotham Bat? The mass vigilante has been a no-show.
He said the Age of Heroes would never come again.
It has to. We don't have any more time.
Something is coming.
No protectors here. No lanterns. No Kryptonian. This world will fall. Like all the others.
One misses the days when one's biggest concerns were exploding wind-up penguins.
This is crazy. Honestly, I think we're all gonna die.
Each of us, in some way, is held back.
Don't engage alone. We'll do this together.
It's really cool. You guys seem ready to do battle and stuff, but I've never done battle. I've just pushed some people and run away.
Relax, Alfred. I'll take it from here.
Do I know you?
Superman was a beacon to the world. He didn't just save people. He made them see the best parts of themselves.
All right.
I don't recognize this world.
We don't have to recognize him. We just have to save it.
How many of you are there? Not enough. Do you really think that...
Oh, wow, they really just vanish. Huh? Oh, that's rude.
You said you'd come. Now let's hope you're not too late.
First thoughts on this movie and this trailer, super cheesy. Too many characters and more cliches than Marvel's Avengers, which is saying something. Batman's a loner. He always has been, especially the film version. He's a tortured soul who usually only works with others out of necessity. Throwing him together with 5 or 6 other lesser-known heroes and expecting him to be the new Robert Downey Jr., spouting smart-ass remarks, it's going to sink the movie. It's out of character and it's forced. I'm also suspicious of the Wonder Woman character. I think the writers won't miss a chance to throw gasoline on the gender wars and find a way to paint the men as dumb and bombastic while putting Gal Gadot on a pedestal. She's not really a strong actress, and is mostly there for her looks. Big surprise. She'll probably end up getting way more screen time than she deserves, all in the name of political correctness. And we're likely to get radio silence from the Hollywood feminists about her skimpy outfit. But hey, that's Hollywood. The Flash looked useless. He's the nerdy actor kid in there to make the moms laugh and keep the younger kids at ease. And casting Game of Thrones actor Jason Momoa as Aquaman, it just makes Ben Affleck look even fruitier and even weaker. And it takes the focus off the team leader. Ben can do all the bench presses he wants to catch up, but he just won't be able to match the pure testosterone of Khal Drogo. Big mistake. I'd let this movie roll out for a week before going to see it. Let the critics dismantle it first so you at least know what you're in for. Maybe it makes a good date movie, but honestly, I wouldn't even bother watching this after it comes out of theaters. It's a byproduct of Marvel's success with another ensemble cast, and this is the best that DC has to offer. This is all they can come up with. So don't waste your money on the sloppy seconds. Instead, hit the internet, hit the message boards, and let's change things the old-fashioned way. Create some competition. Let's get that Netflix Batman idea out there and see how strong Ben's Batman is then. Take a lesson from Daredevil, put the squeeze on old Affleck, and let's force him into an early retirement and do honor to the Bat. And let's do it quickly before he ruins another superhero franchise. All right, and for our last segment of the night, we have Nick's Picks. Who doesn't love HBO? It's produced hit shows like Game of Thrones, The Night Of, and of course Westworld. And it's done so at a time when cable providers are dying. They're being driven out of California and Hollywood by the internet providers, Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon. HBO has been able to hold on to its own, though, and beat the rising stars of Netflix and Hulu, as the network led in Emmy nominations, despite Game of Thrones not even being eligible. But what about the lesser-known shows on HBO? As we promised you, the diamonds in the rough. One of the main snubs this awards season, in my opinion, was given to Damon Lindelof. He was one of the main writers on the show Lost, and he spun off his own series for HBO called The Leftovers. The Leftovers is based on a book by Tom Perrotta about life on Earth after the rapture. Millions of people disappear in an instant in what becomes known as the departure. The show chronicles the lives of those that have been left behind as they try to make sense out of this supernatural occurrence. The reason the show is enjoyable and the reason I liked it is because it's fresh. It has new ideas, it had new ways of using music, and it got very spiritual. On networks today, you don't see a lot of religion. Yeah, there were moments that made me roll my eyes and it was a little sappy, but connecting into the mystery of spirituality is rare today on TV, and this show highlighted it and put a spotlight on it every episode. The music was unorthodox and a little unsettling, but there was always an element of surprise. Anything could happen at any moment, and you wouldn't be surprised. And I've never seen a show have a different intro for each season. I thought that was very creative and unique. It threw me off at first, it's a little unsettling, but I came to appreciate it as the show went on. Lindelof creates this tension where things could go nuclear any second. Not a lot of shows can create that. That takes skill, that takes sharp writing. And the acting of the show, I think, is its strongest part. My favorite part about that is the lead actor, Justin Theroux, who plays a police chief, also wrote Tropic Thunder. How badass is that? Gets his own HBO show, and he helped write Tropic Thunder. Great movie. But he plays a police chief in this small town, and he's trying to keep order after this insane rapture occurs and no one knows what to do. He's a leader. They look to him to try to stay calm, to keep things normal, and he plays the part very well. He also tries to crack the mystery of what happened, but for the most part in the beginning is unsuccessful. We get to see the story of how people react when they don't have answers. And Theroux's emotion and his anger and frustration at that was raw, and it was real. He's not ugly or hard to look at, and that definitely helps these days. And his chemistry with the other actors is clear. It's hard to miss. You know they're taking their cues from him. He's taking charge in these scenes, and that's what you need in a good show. You need that leader. Theroux is probably one of the best, I think, up-and-coming actors on television today. Now, I also think the show has enough comedic chops in it to take the edge off. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it also knows when to circle back and hit your heartstrings pretty hard. So The Leftovers, definitely a diamond in the rough because it mirrors real life. Sometimes crazy things do happen and we don't have any answers to help explain it away. This explores how humans react when they experience something they can't wrap their minds around. The length of the show, too, also very unique, as the writers purposely asked to be capped at only 3 seasons. I've never heard of a show doing that, maybe outside of True Detective or The Young Pope, but that usually came as the show developed. This was set from the beginning, they're only going 3 seasons. So it was short and sweet, but definitely well worth your time. And if you don't want to pay for it on HBO, download the pilot. Check out the first episode illegally, and you might end up changing your mind and picking up that HBO subscription. Well, that's it for us this evening. Please join us again as we go after more Hollywood hypocrisy and try to find you those diamonds in the rough that are worth your very valuable time. Have a great week.